Hey everybody, it's Jimmy and Bill. So today what we're talking about is the pros and cons of buying a second home. There's a lot of pros.
There really are, believe it or not.
But there are cons too. There's no perfect place. But we're going to break down some pros and cons, things that you guys should really consider before buying a second home, and the benefits to it too.
Absolutely.
Hey, do me a favor. If you guys like this kind of content, if you would consider subscribing, it really helps out the channel, and give it a thumbs up and hit the bell notification so you're notified next time we upload. But one of the pros that I think is a retreat, a place that you and your family could just get away from it all.
Right. It's just a change of scenery type thing, just for not renting it out, not doing any of that, just a change of scenery for, like, let's get out of here for the weekend or an evening or two.
Yeah, it might be, you know, it might be up in the mountains, Smoky Mountains, or it might be along the beach.
Yeah.
But I think that's a huge benefit is a retreat, just a place to clear your head.
Yeah, I could see that. That would be nice. Just like I said, a change of scenery, even if it's local, you know, and you just go somewhere just to so you don't have to deal with the traffic for the weekend to go enjoy something.
Yeah, I mean, there's you know, a lot of, I mean, you might love your house, but you know, a lot of us were like, okay, I love my house, it's great, but I could use a few days away from everything. So that's it. All right, so let's talk about a con.
All right, so a con would be if you're choosing to rent your property out as a secondary income, you're going to have to deal with the tenants and maintenance issues and things of that nature. So that could be a con if that's the direction you chose to go.
Well, like if you Airbnb it and you're not nearby.
Well, yeah, even whether you choose to Airbnb, which, you know, rules are changing jurisdictionally, at least in our area, they're changing. But even if you did long-term rentals, you know, they're a little less demanding, but even long-term rentals have issues where maintenance, most people probably don't treat the house the same way that you would treat your house. So, you know, they break something and then they call you and, hey, you got to fix it.
Well, a negative thing too is if the house is vacant, if you're not there for a couple of months. But like my inspection company does what we call home watch programs. Right. So what we do is, these are people that have second homes. We go there maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, once a month. It all depends on what they want. And we go and we check on the house, and we do a little report for them. We call them on the phone and say, okay, we're at your house. There's no water leaking, you know, it's in good shape, the pool's running, whatever it is. We check to make sure there's no broken windows. So it's called home watch. So it gives a lot of people peace of mind. I mean, the average cost for a visit is like 50 bucks. So, but for 200 bucks a month, say there's 4 weeks in the month.
Yep.
It's worth a peace of mind.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you're not down here and your house is closed up for the better part of 3, 4, 5 months, let's say, you know, till you get down here quarterly. You know, a service like that's fantastic because it's nice to be able to open the windows and just make sure that everything, the pipes, you know, you run the water, you do that kind of stuff. So I think that type of service is invaluable as long as, you know, obviously you're licensed and all that stuff to do that kind of a service.
Right. All right, so let's talk. That was a con we were talking about, right?
Well, it was a con that turned in kind of a pro.
All right, so let's go. I got something for a pro. That we'll go back to what you were talking about. If you do rent it, it could be a good rental income.
Yes. Yeah, so if you get your numbers right, it could be a good rental income.
So as a realtor, isn't it smart if you're buying a second home to think of that too, saying, okay, I'm not planning to rent it, but if I do rent it, I would have positive cash flow. What do you think of that?
Yeah, definitely. If it's even a fleeting thought that you may rent this property out, at least make sure you break even, at the bare minimum, that you break even. Now, eventually, depending on how you're choosing to do the rental, whether it be short-term, mid-term, or long-term, there's different monetary amounts that you get from your rent for those types of rentals. And then where you're located could be a big thing seasonally. So if you're on the coast, you're going to get a premium in the certain times of the year.
Yeah.
And then other times of the year, you're not going to fill it. You know, so there's just some pros and cons there, but that could be the time when you're using the property. So you're at least making a little bit of money back is an option.
Yeah, that's a big pro. All right. I have, actually it's a pro again. So, or it could be a con too, okay? So appreciation or depreciation.
Okay.
Okay, depending on where you are. If you buy at the peak of the market and the price is still going up, you're going to appreciate it. If you're planning to own it for a few years, most likely you'll appreciate.
Right.
But if you plan on not, you know, it's possibly at the short term, it's going to decrease in value. Talk about that a little bit.
Right. So if you're planning on buying a house as a second home to just flip it, you kind of have to weigh out a lot of other factors before you make that decision. If you're planning on buying the house and keeping it for any length of time, you know, you've obviously, everybody wants to buy the house at the best possible deal. And luckily, we are still trending upwards on, you know, our value gains here. Not dramatically, but we are trending upwards, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
For us, you know. And if you're watching the market day to day constantly, it's kind of like the stock market. It always comes in ripples and waves, you know. So just because you lost a little bit. So I had a conversation as an example with somebody who said, if I lose any more money on this property this year, I'm going to have to sell because it's going to bankrupt me.
Right.
And so I said, okay, no problem. So I pulled hard data on them, and I really did a full evaluation on their property, and they gained roughly 40% over the last 5 years.
Oh, wow.
But they lost 5% this year.
So basically, it's, you know,
they're still up 35% for short math.
Yeah.
So it was just because they saw it. Now, I've paid attention to this house, and then I put them on a service that I offer so that you can get home valuations. Once we set the system up, then it tracks very, very accurately where we're at, because it's not just one of the random ones that you get online.
Yeah.
You know, we have to set it up and build it, and then it'll track very accurately the values of your house based on trends.
Okay.
But they're back up because things come up and things go down.
Yeah, I mean, you don't lose until you sell at the end of the day.
Right. And if you lost 5% this year and you had to sell your house, you're still up 35%.
Yeah, from when you bought
when you purchased it.
So that's a benefit.
Yep.
Here's another pro that I have. I'm just thinking about pros right now. But if you really enjoy it and you really love it, maybe it's the perfect place for you to retire and you're already set up.
Right. There is, in my opinion, there is no price for happiness. And if that property makes you happy, if I lost $1,000 a month, who cares? It's the place I want to be. It's the place I'm going to retire at, and I got it at a good deal right now, because in the long run, that's going to be my happy place. So I think there's some value to that.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes if you lose a little bit of money here and there, it's not the worst thing if that's going to be your happy place for the future. Then you may not be able to do it. You know, you may not be able to purchase it in the future because the price went up too high.
Yeah, hey, that's true, you know. But here's another pro on owning a second home. Family gatherings. Now you guys have a place to get your whole family. Not only is it a retreat for you that we talked about, but it's a good family gathering area.
Yeah, or it's a family escape area.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's had the families in town, and the house is just cramped for a long period of time. So having that second property, you know, for somebody to go and have a little bit more space can be a good thing. And then the entire family can use it whenever they come into town.
Well, here's this. One of the people in Hudson that got flooded, that they had to rebuild their house, they're lucky. They had a second home that they can go to.
Oh, nice.
It was in Georgia, but they're retired, and they're like, okay, we're going to rebuild this. He said, my wife is really, really stressed, so we're going to go to the second home and, you know, and then, you know, just relax until the house is, so that was a big benefit.
Good.
All right. Here's the con. You have 2 electric bills now. You have 2 tax bills. You have 2 insurance bills. You have maybe 2 mortgages.
Right.
What do you think of that one? It's a big con.
That's a huge con. It may be a little tax bill, or maybe a little mortgage, maybe a small power bill because you're not there, so you're just kind of running the air and stuff to keep the house from getting musty and gross. But yeah, you've got double of everything. You're never going to escape your taxes. Maybe you have insurance, maybe you don't, or at a bare minimum, at least you have, you know, liability and fire. But that's an expense.
Yeah.
That is definitely an expense.
All right, here's another con. So now a couple of cons are popping into my head. You're limited. So let's say you have a second home and you go there on your vacation all year long. You know, but now you want to go to someplace else. So you're like, all right, should I skip that second home?
Oh, good one.
And then, you know,
yeah.
Or am I putting all my money into my second home so I don't have money to go on a European vacation?
Right, that's a good one.
Yeah, what do you think of that one?
That's a really good one. Yeah, that's definitely something you're gonna have to weigh out if you want a property, because that's the one place that you go to all the time. That doesn't mean that you can't save up and go on a vacation, but you know, that's gonna start limiting your funds for sure.
Okay, Bill, when it comes to second homes, you got anything else?
I think we hit it all.
Yeah?
I think we got it all.
So if you could afford a second home, it might be the way to go.
It might be.
So anyways, that's today's video. I greatly appreciate it. Like always, you know, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. Give it a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you on the next one. See you later.
Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Bye.